Alright gang, welcome back to our Triple Threat Challenge here on Zabby. It is now November. November means we're going to be selling some stuff today, which is going to be a good thing for us. Hopefully, we can get some water buffalo down on the ground today as well. That would be the most ideal situation for us, but we will see how things go. First thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to grab... Let me find them. Mustard. The mustard is the best to sell today. The canola is the best to sell today. The mustard is dropping in price for the average best price right now, which is $7.15, which is better than the average best price, as a matter of fact. So we're going to get rid of all of that and sell that today. We're also going to sell all the canola. Now, the canola is still going up, so I'm going to hold on to it for a little while. And actually, if you look at the map here, technically it says it's going to be maybe a smidge better next month. Which is a bit of a surprise, but right now it's better than the average best price, which is $1,045. Right now we can get $1,064 from it. So we're going to kind of just monitor it as we move along here and see if it's going to continue to go up today or not. The odds are it's not going to go up too much, but we'll take a peek at it and see what happens. So we are going here. We've been there many, many times. We know exactly where that is. So let's head on over there and get this sold, this mustard sold. We're going to do one more trip. The next trip we do with the mustard is obviously not a full load of mustard, but nonetheless, we have to do that. We've got to get the straw up off this field as well, as you can clearly tell. And then we've got some fields to plow up as well. That field specifically that had the straw on it, and then our smaller field over there to the left by the greenhouse, that also needs to be plowed up. We also probably have some peas that we need to take care of. In other words, we've got a maxed out of peas, or nearly a maxed out amount of peas in the greenhouse, and that is the case there. We've got 13,000 liters of peas in there, so we need to go ahead and move those as well. Might be best to sell the peas now, as a matter of fact. They were recent, so if it's still a decent price, we'll probably sell those today as well, just to try to help solidify a little bit more money in the bank account, and hopefully be able to allow us to really get... that was a really close turn there, semi-truck. Or dump truck, but hopefully that helps solidify the ability for us to be able to, you know, get the water buffalo up and running here in the winter months. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. Things are relatively good. I have relatively good news to state that, at least for the time being, my job is safe. I know I mentioned previously that I was a little concerned with my real-life job, that maybe be losing it based off of some events that had transpired over the last couple of weeks. It appears that, at least for the time being, I'm safe, so that's a good thing. That means I still can afford to live, so that's a good thing. But, yeah, anyway, we'll see how things go, though. I can't guarantee it's going to be that way forever, but at least for the foreseeable future here, for at least the next couple of months at a bare minimum, hopefully I'm safe. So we'll see how things go. But, yeah, so a bit of good news there. Other than that, things are moving along nicely. This week we had a big wig in town. Actually, my new boss was in town, so for obvious reasons, I didn't really have a whole lot of time to get some videos done early, and that was more specifically aimed towards my members. They do get early access to these videos, so I feel a little bit bad about that, but I did, you know, forewarn them and forewarn all of you, really, for that matter, that, you know, I had a lot going on because of that reason, so there was going to be a very limited amount of time for me to get anything done. And yeah, so anyway, why did I get so loud all of a sudden when I was unloading that? Why did I get so loud? That was super loud for some reason. Anyway, nice, $7,160 for that income, and then $785 more for their rental score. So that gets us at 64,000, which is a good spot to be in, right? Now, we are getting dangerously close here to January, and you know what happens in January. Threat 2 becomes a complete risk again. Threat 2, in case you stumbled across this and are not aware, there are 3 threats we're involved in. Threat 2 is probably the most severe of all of them. That's my personal opinion. Threat 2, there's 2 randomized questions you have to ask a randomizer. It does not matter what randomizer you use. You can use random.org, you can use wheel decide. It really doesn't matter, whatever you want to use. The first one you ask is, am I allowed to pay off my loan? And if it says yes, then you can pay off as much as you want. You can pay 0, you can pay the full amount, whatever you want to do. If you pay the full amount, the threat's completely done. You've check marked threat 2 is done. If it says no, you have to ask a second follow-up yes or no question, and the question becomes, do you need to take out more of a loan? And if the answer is yes, you got to take another $100,000 out. Even if you don't want it, you have to take another $100,000 out. And, you know, really, early on stages, having that extra $100,000 is actually pretty helpful. But eventually, and really, I guess at this point almost for us, but I would actually kind of like another $100,000 this January. But really, it starts to become a nuisance. Is it going to really break you? Is it going to, make you fail? No, probably not. But it will become a nuisance having to pay the interest on that every single month for 12 months because you're not allowed to do anything until the following January. And again, it's all up to a random choice. So you could get some bad luck here because it's a 50-50 choice. And you're not allowed to pay the loan off for a long, long time. And you sit there and you're stuck with that loan, right, until you're able to fully pay it off, right? So there's definitely some randomized bad luck you could get, I guess is how I will put it. There's some very much so randomized bad luck that you can get from this challenge. But anyway. For now, we've only had to take out $100,000 one time. So I'm to be honest with you, I'm actually hoping in January we get the option to take another $100,000 out. With my luck, it probably won't happen, but I'm actually hoping that does happen because I think if we get another $100,000, we're actually going to be in a spot where we're able to really mostly accomplish all of the other objectives. And then at that point forward, it's really just a matter of us being able to, get enough money saved up to pay the loan off, right? Anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Happy to be back, man. Happy to be back in this series. I really do enjoy this series. I think, honestly, the 3 series that we have currently running are some of my favorite series that I've done. The first one is the Island Preservation, which was made by my friend Crest2. This one was made by me. I did an initial version of the Triple Threat Challenge in FS25 that was early on. We made some major modifications to it with this one. There's still a few other modifications I think I would do for a third version of it, and I'm sure we will do a third version. Third version may not be in FS25. It may be in the next iteration of Farming Simulator. We'll see. Really depends on how long this game runs for. And then we now have the brand new series that just started a couple of days ago. Well, I guess by the time this releases, it's going to be almost a week ago at this point. And it's the Nutty Brewer, which is a series where it's a continuation of Z's adventure, where he has to bring a abandoned brewery back to life, which I'm very excited about that series. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's only 3 episodes in, but I'm having a lot of fun with that series, and I think it's going to be a really good one. I really do. I think it's going to be an awesome one. And here we are, really loud again for whatever reason. I guess it's the factory here next door, but it gets even louder when I drop this into the grate here. So it's obviously the wheels or the turning mechanism that's in that grate, spinning it and put it into the silos, but super loud nonetheless. Okay, so that gets us a 68,909. Now, we have almost $30,000 liters of canola. Well, it'll be almost $30,000. As a matter of fact, it'll be a little bit more than that. But regardless, we have almost 30,000 liters of canola to sell. So that's 3 trips of canola to go and sell. And I think I'm going to hold off on selling the canola until the later portion or to the very end of the episode, just because every single one of the selling points are still going up. Now, is it going to make a massive difference? No. Probably not, but if we can get an extra $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 every 1,000 liters, I'm going to take that, right? I'm going to take that advantage and go for it. So we're going to hold off. We're going to do some other things first before we do that. The next thing I think we're going to do is we're going to head back to the yard there. I think we're going to take a peek at the contracts and see what's out there. I just drilled the stop sign. I think we're going to see what's out there from a contract perspective. I'm not sure if there's going to be anything good. I mean, we're kind of in the winter months now, so contracts are far and few between, and any of the decent ones are really gone by now. But we'll take a peek at it and see what's out there. Then we got to get the baling going, and then we'll see about selling the canola at that point, moving forward from there. So lots of things to do, really, even though there's not a ton to do. That's still a lot to do, right? These trips take a while, right? Doing all of the straw up off that ground is going to take a while. Getting the plow done in all those fields, it's going to all take a while. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to put a worker on plowing up the smaller field while we take care of the straw, because really we kind of have to take care of the straw, right? Speaking of the straw, it's not best to sell the straw until next month, and really I'm probably going to save most of that straw for our water buffalo for bedding. We really probably need to keep a little bit of that for a little while. But we probably will sell at least, I would think, one trailer load of straw I think we'll probably sell. Because unfortunately, the water buffalo we end up putting down here that I'm planning to do, it's not going to be the full amount we need, right? We're required to do 250, which is not that many, but we are required to do that many, and the production I'm planning on putting down really is not going to allow 250 to be there, unfortunately. But it'll at least get us a start. It'll allow us to get, buffalo milk among numerous other things that are going to be extremely helpful and extremely useful for us as we continue on here, right? So that's at least the plan. That's the goal. Things can change as we move along here, but that's the plan and the goal that I have in mind for today. So let's get the JCB here. I'm going to hook up to the plow, and I'm going to put the worker on plowing up the field I talked about down there by the peas. And I'm not forgetting about the peas. We do have to pick up the peas. I understand that. Speaking of the peas, I should look and see what the price of those are. I said it's going to probably start dropping. Actually, it's best right now, so we really should sell those today too. The 669, it is dropping in price, so maybe we should go do that right now. That might be a smart thing to do. Sell the peas right now. I don't think we had anything in storage, did we? No, we don't. So it would be just directly the ones we have from the greenhouse. Really, it would just be one load. I could do a second load for the other 3,000. Maybe I still will, but I don't think I necessarily have to. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a shortcut across our neighbor's field here, and hopefully they don't yell at me too much for messing up their perfectly plowed field here, but that's okay. Oh, we still have straw down there. I thought we took care of the straw last episode. Well, my mistake. I thought we took care of the straw. We did not take care of the straw, so that means we got to get that up here too. All right, so we've got a lot more to do than I thought. Maybe we won't be doing the water buffalo today. That might be a major mistake on my part. I thought for sure we picked up that straw, but I guess we did get busy in the last episode, so I guess that does make sense why we didn't get that done. My mistake. My mistake. It happens. I'm not perfect, certainly. Now, those of you that might be looking for the Cages 525 series, it is not ending. I will tell you that right now. It's not going to be rebooted. It's exactly going to pick up where we left off in the last episode. There's just going to be a bit of a break for a little while we get the Nutty Brewer kind of up and running and in a good spot. So we're just going to take a little bit of a break, and then eventually that series will just kind of show up randomly. It's not going to be a set schedule by any means. The only set schedule on that would be is if, the week of, I let you know that that's coming out that specific day. Not going to be like every single Tuesday or every single Wednesday. It's not going to be anything like that. Maybe later on it will be, but for the foreseeable future, it will not be that. It will just be kind of randomly, spliced in, or thrown in whenever time permits and whenever I feel like doing an episode on that series. The reason why I'm okay with taking a break on that series is many times I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. It's a series that, in essence, is going to run for the entirety of FS25. So we're going to be done with that series. In other words, we're going to have all the stuff that we have to accomplished in that series well before the next iteration of Farm Simulator 20 whatever it is, 28, 29, 27, whatever it ends up being. I don't think it'll be 27 personally. I think it'll be 28, but we'll see. I think 3 years, which is what they've been kind of doing recently. I think 3 years is more of a reasonable timeline to come out with a new game on this one because they're just so heavy on Mod Hub, right? So if you didn't have Mod Hub, then I would 100% say every 2 years is the right spot. But with Mod Hub, I just don't truly think they need to go every 2 years. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. It's just my opinion. So I do think it'll be about a year from this November that maybe we'll hear about it before that, but a year from this November before another game is released. And that's at the earliest. They could even wait another year if they really wanted to. Now, a couple other things to note. Bit of a spoiler here, but not really. Nothing's really been decided yet. You know, we had the competitive one-tile challenge that Crestu, Rusty Money Gaming, and I, you know, partook in, right? Or I'm wording that completely wrong, but you get what I mean. We had the competitive one-tile challenge that we did together, right? And it was very successful. We all really enjoyed it, and we said that we would be back very, very soon to do another series. I can announce now, at this point, that another series is in the works. What I can tell you from that series is it's not a series that I'm coming up with. I came up with the competitive one-tile challenge. I said when we ended that series that I was going to pass the reins on to someone else to come up with the next challenge. That has happened. It has been accomplished. I guess I'll give this away. Crestu is the one that's creating the new challenge. There is going to be another competition that we're going to be doing between... Well, now it's going to be 4 of us. We've added another individual to the mix. So it's Crestu, Rusty Money Gaming, myself, and a brand newcomer, Blue Roses. She's awesome. A fantastic newer, I guess I would put, to the community. But she's awesome. All 4 of us are going to be running this challenge. Not going to give anything away about what the challenge is. Not going to give any kind of details of any sort. But... I think it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We are going to limit a lot of the things that kind of came up and that we learned in the competitive one-tile challenge that became a little bit too unrealistic. You know, there was a lot of what we would all agree upon is, you know, there were a lot of different mods that all of us were trying to incorporate all together, because if you didn't, you got so far behind. That's one of the main reasons I ended up getting so far behind there at the end, is because I didn't incorporate some of the stuff they were doing, right? And I was trying to kind of make it a little bit different, but you know, it became too much. So we're doing some limits when it comes to mods. Right off the bat, we're gonna do some limitations when it comes to the mods. So we're gonna have a set group of mods that are automatically included, and then there's going to be a certain amount. Which hasn't been fully decided yet either, but there's going to be a certain amount of mods that each of us can put in the hat that can be included, right? So we're going to all have a certain number of mods that we're allowed to pick to include. Now, the one thing we're definitely doing, which, you know, we kind of tried to do at the beginning, evidently we missed a little bit of a harvest there. That's a shame. But anyway, you know, there was, how do I put it? The beginning, my goal for the competitive one-tile challenge was not to get super unrealistic, and it kind of got out of control. So we're going to stop that from happening, right? There was a lot of mods that were requested to be installed. I installed those mods, and then it came to fruition that the mods that we installed were more unrealistic than we were expecting, and then we were kind of like, well, what do we do now, right? We've already got these unrealistic mods, people have already used them, they've sold stuff, right? We're kind of at a bad spot, right? So, in other words, we're going to try to do whatever we can to minimize that from happening again with this new series, right? That's the goal, at least. So we will see, right? We will see. I'm very, very excited about it. He's come up with some pretty unique ideas for this challenge. Not saying one of those ideas that he's come up with are actually going to, you know, stick, but they're really good ideas. We're going to see how this plays out. It is not going to be a competitive one-tile challenge. It will be a different multiplayer type of challenge that we're going to be doing. Again, I'm not trying to give away too much. I've given a little bit away, but not give away too much in regard to what kind of a challenge specifically it is and what we're doing and any mods or anything like that, where I'm not going to give those away yet because it's still all in the works, right? What we might agree on now might change by the time it actually releases. So I don't want to, you know, give something away that is not realistic anymore. What else? That's the big thing. They're all very excited about this series. All of them are. As a matter of fact, I was, because of, you know, the work issues that have been happening that I'm not really going to get into again. You know, I've been a little bit behind for multiple reasons. I've been behind on getting the responses to everyone, but I think I've mostly caught up by now. At least at the time of this recording, I've mostly caught up. You know, and there was a bunch of Discord messages that I still need to get caught up on, and they were evidently they didn't have anything to do this last weekend, which is awesome. I wish I had one of those weekends. excuse me, right now, so I can try to catch up on stuff. But unfortunately, I haven't had one of those weekends in a very, very long time. But they were going crazy, I guess. Probably just playing Farming Simulator over the weekend and just enjoying themselves. And they were just, ideas were going left and right, and just lots and lots of different conversations that were going on within the Discord of the chat that we got going on between the four of us. So a lot of good stuff coming out of this, and I think this is going to turn into being a very, very good series, and I'm very excited about it, and we'll see, right? I've got to figure out what mods I want to include, right? I told you there's going to be a limited number of mods each of us are allowed to add to the list, and I got to figure mine out. Second of all, I really need to download the map that we're talking about doing. I'm not going to give that away yet either, but we need to talk about, I need to download that map, kind of go through the map and kind of figure it out, right? So I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do, right? Personally, I want to make sure I'm trying to be as much as humanly possible ahead of the game here, and have at least a base idea of what I'm wanting to accomplish when this series is released. Now, I will say that we are a little ways away before that series is ever going to come to fruition, and what I mean by a little ways away is we're probably a month and a half, maybe 2 months out before that series is even really going to gain any legs or any strength here. I think we found our sweet spot a little bit with the competitive one-tile challenge, and when it's the best time for all of us to try to get something together. Really, it's the fall, winter, and late fall, winter and early spring. So again, at the very, very earliest, and I think it might even be too early, we're looking at mid to late September. It's probably going to be more like an early October before that series starts, which sounds like it's really far away, but when you think about it, it's really not that far away, gang. It's really not that far away. I mean, we are almost to August already, right? I mean, that's a little over 2 months, and maybe less, right? So it's really not that far away. So, I guess what I'm trying to get at, and that's very, very long-winded to get here, is that if you really enjoyed the competitive one-tile challenge and you're a little sad that, the series was over, right? We are not far away from starting one again. And I think it's going to be great. I really do. I think we're all going to really enjoy it. I know I personally will. And I know I'm going to be taking some, how do I want to put it? Some different approaches this time. So, because I feel like, I'm just talking very candid with you right now, I feel like in the competitive one-tile challenge, until we started adding some of these other mods in, I was winning by a lot. I feel like I was far and above both of them before we started incorporating some of these mods that ended up being way too unrealistic. And then I started losing, and I never really caught back up because I didn't really make the changes and add all the stuff that they were doing. Well, it's not really, at least, right? So I don't want to say that's the reason I lost, but that's the reason I lost. And I'm not going to allow that to happen this time, and especially with, the little rule we're putting in play where we're only allowed to add 5 mods each. And it has to be, realistic. It can't be any of these super mods that we utilized in the competitive one-tile challenge. I hated the super mods, as a matter of fact. Did I use them? Yes, I did, but I hated them. I really did. I said at the beginning I didn't want it to become that way, but it ended up becoming that way because of mods we installed and weren't really fully aware of how exactly, excuse me, how unrealistic they were actually going to be. And I just ran right into a tree while I was trying to clear my throat. Swallow before you speak, Z. Anyway, so I think some of those mods, I was like, yeah, sure, we'll install it. Not really fully aware of how unrealistic it was going to be, right? So if I could do it again, I would, not allow those mods. If that makes sense. So I think we've learned our lesson there a little bit, and that's not going to happen again. And I'm determined to win. We are not going to lose again. You heard it here first. I highly doubt Rusty and Krusty are watching. Blue Roses maybe is watching, but highly doubt that too. I'm gonna win. You guys are not gonna win this time. I'm not letting it happen again. Did feel good though, since I made the series to let them both win, right? I felt like I was, justified with doing that. But they're not gonna win this time. That's all I'm gonna say. They're not gonna win this time. I am going to Make sure of it. I'm a very competitive person by nature. I've said that many times in the past. I even took the 200 horsepower challenge by Crest2 and FS22 very long time ago. I took that as a competition, and Crest2 had to keep reminding me, it's not a competition. I'm like, it is a competition. So, this time, I will not be losing. I'm going to leave it at that. I will not be losing. All right, so we got that up there, so let's go ahead and put the worker on plowing this field up for us now. We've got more straw to pick up, as I mentioned, but I'm going to look at contracts here in just a second. Man, I've rambled on for 25... You guys let me ramble on for 25 minutes. Woo. Well, I'm going to keep on rambling, because we're not going to do the next straw, because we just did all that straw, so we're not going to do the next straw until we hit a time lapse here. I can't believe you guys let me ramble on for 25 minutes. I always feel like I have more time to get things done than I actually do. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does, but I always feel like I have a lot more time than I actually end up having. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get this, this, and this done, and then it just never happens because I just don't have the time to get it done. I think I'm going to have the time, but I don't. Now, we have eggs to sell today as well, as a matter of fact, and I didn't look at those. But we should, because we got a decent amount of eggs in there, right? They are dropping in price, so we definitely should sell those right now. 1443, the Preserved Food Factory. Yeah, that's where I thought it was going to be. Now, the problem with this becomes, in its current state, we have no straps. So we're going to have to modify this trailer back from an autoload trailer. And we'll utilize our maintenance shed here in the house. Hopefully here by 11 o'clock when we hit here in about a minute or so, we'll have some more contracts pop up. As I mentioned before, like the contract perspective on this series, it seems to be the later in the day, the more contracts pop up. So I'm kind of hopeful here that by the time 11 o'clock hits, we will have more out there for us. Speaking of the chickens, though, one thing I didn't look at is how they're doing food-wise. Okay, they're good. They're good. They're good for food for a little while. Probably keeping most of the rye again for the chickens here. Eventually, I think I might get rid of the chickens. Maybe. Just because, you know, they're really there just to kind of, you know, offset and add a little bit of extra income to us. For some of the crops that we have that, you know, maybe we did a contract on and we were able to gain or keep a little bit of that crop and we can utilize that to feed the chickens, right? It just helps solidify a little bit of that extra money that we would have got from a contract, right? Now, this isn't going to be anything crazy, but it'll be, you know, a little bit of money. It'll be whatever. Let's see, there's 3 full pallets there, right? 45, almost probably close to 5,000 bucks off of this, which is not bad, right? That'll get us over 70 grand, which is a good spot to be in. That gives us a lot better chance for the water buffalo. And again, as much as I would like to get the water buffalo down today, we very well might. Ooh, I did not put the worker on that, clearly. Oh, I had steering assist on. Whoops. We don't have to get the straw up in the other field today if we don't want to. We can absolutely do that in December. And honestly, as a matter of fact, we probably will. Oh, it's incorrectly attached. I had it on the fast version. All right. Well, that makes sense. That's why it didn't happen. Okay, worker's going now, so that's good. Alright, we are wheeling up here right now. This will be a nice little small payday. A little bit of a bank count stacker. Oh, it's a little more than I thought it was going to be. So 6,450 plus 708 environmental. So that gets to 76,000. That's even better. That's awesome. That's exactly where we want to be at, man. $76,002 exactly. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's great stuff. So, all right. So, used market. Is there anything out there? Nope, of course not. Okay, well, you never know, right? You never know. So, let me get to a bit of a straightaway here, and we'll take a peek here at contracts. I don't expect there to be much. Ooh, there's actually more than I thought there was going to be out there. But to be fair, I don't know how that happened. To be fair, I mean, the mowing, the plowing, the deadwood is really the only things we can actually do right now. We know the stone picking doesn't work. Wood transport, I really, really don't want to do. Sorry, neighbor, for driving through your field there. I apologize. So yeah, we're looking at more specifically. We're looking at mowing, plowing, and deadwood. The deadwood's not even that great. The plowing are actually pretty decent. And if I flip it around and go the unrealistic way, it makes it even more realistic and a lot easier for us to do, right? Yeah, but we've got the worker plowing the one field right now, so we're going to kind of have to wait for the worker to be done with that. But that's okay. We've got peas that we can go and sell, which we talked about already, right? Seems to be relatively okay for the time being, the greenhouse there. It's still got enough water, herbicide, all that stuff, but it looks like probably here in one of these winter months coming up, we are going to have to spend some money on that. So we need to make sure we remember that, where we're going to have to buy some more herbicides, some more seeds, some more, etc., right? Well, actually, not seeds. Solid fertilizer, herbicide. Now, I'm going to forget, so before I forget, I'm just going to go ahead and modify this right now, because I will forget in the next episode when we're going to start working on that straw. If I don't do it today, which, like I said, I'm kind of leaning towards that, I will forget that. So let's just go ahead and turn the auto load back on, so that way I don't forget it. Just heading back to my whole work thing and the issues there. I heard a lot of people were having a very similar situation, so I truly hope that your situation turns out like mine, at least for the time being. You're safe at work. I hope you don't have or lit off or anything like that. I hope you continue to have a job. It sucks, right? It sucks if you're ever in that situation. So I feel for you. I was really concerned about mine, and honestly, even though I'm a little less concerned right now, I am still overall concerned, because I really don't know what they're going to do when all things are said and done. But at least for the time being, it looks like they're going to keep me, because they probably kind of have to keep me, I guess, right now. Doesn't necessarily mean they want to. I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to go to the greenhouse. I don't know for sure if they want to or not, but at least for the time being, they kind of have to, because they don't have anybody else to run the largest client, right? So... And I guess I should preface that if you don't know, for whatever reason you stumbled across this, I work for a very, very small software company. It's really in the banking realm, but we create software for banks, and I have the largest client that our company has. It wasn't really by design. It was somebody else was running it. They ended up letting that person go, and then they basically said, "Can you go ahead and run this, because we don't have anybody else?" And I said, I don't want to. No, I didn't say that, but I kind of inside, I was like, I don't really want to, because this client is notoriously very difficult to work with, and they really are. But I did it, so here we are. Okay, so where are we taking these peas? Where are we taking these peas? And if you may be inquiring more about why I'm saying they're a difficult client, they're not nice people. They're just assholes. I mean, to be quite frank with you, they're just assholes. They think they own everybody, and they don't, right? We're supposed to be a client and a vendor basically of you, and you act like you own us. And it's just, it's really unrealistic what they expect of us. Okay, we're pulling up here. We need some gas here for the Dulcifar here, so we'll grab some gas while we're down here. I think the main gas station's down here, which is going to be slightly cheaper than using our buying silo. At least I think it is. So we'll grab some gas. If it is down here, we'll grab some gas while we're down here. Yeah, it's right here to the right. I see it. Let's sell these first. We've never been here, I don't think. I don't think we have. Almost positive we haven't. So this will be a nice little payday here. This should get us close to 90. Okay, I'm evidently way off. We're gonna just barely be over 80. Ignore everything I said. We're barely over 80. 83,245. We got 6,706 bucks plus $736 environmental score. So still, that's still pretty good though. I'm not gonna focus or worry about the other 3,000 liters there of peas in there. I just don't care too much there. I really don't. So I'm just gonna let those be. We'll just let them continue to build through that. So we'll head back. All right. Thank you very much, Karen. I really appreciate that. Now, if you don't know, all of the car colors, they have names. A lot of them have been named by subscribers, members on the channel, or friends of the channel. Karen is not one that was named by anybody. Karen is the only actual car that I have personally named. All the other ones came from all of you. Or like I said, our friends of the channel. But Karen is the yellow car. Really, until now, Karen really hasn't been a huge Karen. She's actually been less of a Karen. I would argue that Byron, Walter, and Scarlett have been more Karens than Karen actually has been. But, yeah, anyway. It's just a little fun extra bit that we did in FS22, as a matter of fact. That's where all this started. All right, so we need to figure out what contracts we're going to do here. We can do 3 contracts. We don't have to do all 3, but we can do 3 contracts. I'm highly leaning towards doing the plowing contracts and just spinning the plow around the other way to make it a little bit faster, right? I'm highly planning on or thinking about doing that just from a speed and essence standpoint, right? Just make our life so much easier. That's what I'm thinking about doing, and it's probably what we're going to end up doing. I know a lot of people don't really care. It's more of me just kind of feeling weird about it because it is super unrealistic, and I don't really love that portion of it. And to be fair, there's a lot of things we use that are unrealistic. I totally get it, and you 100% can argue that, and I would agree with you. But this one just seems really even more so unrealistic than normal because it is, right? But to be fair, and to everyone's point, you're all correct. It is a lot faster, and it allows us to get other things done, right? So you are 100% correct in that statement. Just sometimes it feels a little too cheaty to me. But it is super nice to get the field done in record time. It really is nice to get it all done that quickly, right? We are not going to be putting down the water buffalo today. I feel like I've said that the last couple episodes. I'm like, oh, we're going to get the water buffalo down today, and then it just doesn't happen. Well, really, it's not happening because of, well, we're pretty far into this episode already. It's taken us a lot longer. We haven't even done a single contract yet. It's taken us a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, and we haven't done a contract yet, and we haven't sold the canola yet, and we already talked about how much canola we've got to sell, right? So that's going to take some time too. Now you could say, well, why don't you just do a second episode? You're right, I could do a second episode. Don't think I'm going to, though. But I definitely could. Okay, so what do we got? What do we got? Anything new? Looks like exactly the same. Nope. We don't have a cultivator, so that's out. Deadwood we can do, and that will take a few seconds to do, and probably really worth it, but it's not tons of money, but we probably could do it. Mowing, we can do mowing, but our mower is lackluster at best. Plowing, we can really do both of these, and we could really do them quickly if we have it flipped around, right? We really can. So I'm going to do both of those. I know plowing may not be the most exciting thing in the world, but we're going to do both of those. Let's do 81 first. It's real close. It won't take but a few seconds to do, especially with it turned around this way. I'm not going to get the Doltzfar. We'll just utilize the JCB here. I would love to upgrade this JCB to a larger JCB fast track, but we're not quite there yet. We've got a decent amount of money in the bank account, but we're not quite there yet. As I mentioned, I would really like, and that's why I'm hoping for $100,000, I would really like to be able to get that mill. If we can get that mill, the whole series is going to take a massive leap forward, right? If we can get that mill, that's really going to change things. We can start putting poppy in, because we haven't even done a single thing of poppy yet. The reason we haven't done a single poppy yet, because if we harvest the poppy, we can't do anything with the poppy, regardless if it's a contract that we got or you know, a field that we purchased that had a poppy, and it doesn't matter. We can't do anything with the poppy. We have to have the poppy be turned into another byproduct. That is part of the rule. So yeah, this really won't take too long doing this. This will with going the backwards way here, this is really not going to be too bad. Oh, actually, it's a lot larger of a field than I thought it was. Okay. Well, it's still not going to be bad. The other field is going to be larger than this field, right? So I probably should be flipping it around to the Doltzfar. The Doltzfar would be faster than this one, but you know what we got to get done. Let's get to work. Okay, gang, we've made a lot of money here. We're in a good spot here. We're at 106,000 currently. We're going to get a lot more here now. I'm also going to go ahead and turn in these contracts, which is going to get us way up there. So let's see where we end up with here, the canola. I'm thinking we're going to be closer to 125,000. $124,849 is where we currently are at, and we have one more contract we can do today. Now, the contract we're probably going to do today, just based off of time specifically alone, is likely going to be the Deadwood contract. It's not that exciting. I totally get that, but I do believe that is the one we're going to do. I'm going to actually have a worker drive this back near our area, if I should say. It probably won't be able to make it where I want it to go, but if it gets close, I'm going to be happy. All right, we're going. Perfect. All right, so contracts. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? There's another baling contract, but it is a round bale. We don't have a round baler. There is a harvesting contract, but it's carrots. I don't want to do that. The Deadwood's still out there. There's a hoeing contract that's not worth all that much money. There is a sowing contract, actually, that's not terrible. Maybe we should consider doing that. $2,000 is not bad. But honestly, the Deadwood is what we're going to go with, honestly. I think I kind of already made my decision up anyway. It's not a ton of money, but this is literally takes a few seconds to do. So $750 for a few seconds of time is in my eyes, completely worth the effort. And as we've already talked about, right, the episode itself is already pretty long anyway, so I think it makes the most sense from a time perspective, if nothing else, just to go ahead and do this one. So we're looking for 5 different trees here. I saw there was one we chopped down. I see 3 right now. I don't know where the 5th one is, but we'll find it. Okay, the other one I saw was straight at... Oh, there's 2 of them here. Okay, we found them. We found them all. We found all 5. Pretty simple. Like I said, very easy. Nothing really to it. So, with all of that said, we are going to leave the episode at this point. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button in the case you've yet to do so. They are free to do, and it helps me out an absolute ton. Thanks to each and every single one of my members. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you, and I really do appreciate the support and the continued understanding that you have with me. It really does mean a lot. If you are interested in potentially becoming a member, there is a link down below where you can get early access to videos like this one. Make sure you check out my second channel, check out the Discord, check out the shop. All the links for that are down below for you. Right now we're doing 10% off as well on your entire purchase from the shop. Make sure you check my post section on the channel itself. There's a link that you can click there, and it'll give you 10% off your entire purchase for the Go Live. So with all of that said, we will leave it here. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to your support. As always, it really does mean more than you can possibly imagine to me. And yeah, we'll see you next time.